tuning into the JB Arts YouTube channel. Meet my friend, Noreen Young. She's the world famous puppet lady. She teaches puppetry. She creates puppets. She's a puppeteer herself. She's been in all sorts of different television shows. Her most famous one was Under the Umbrella Tree. There's Today's Special, Canadian Sesame Street, and a bunch of other things. She creates other puppets for other famous puppeteers like Ronnie Burkett. She's created fantastic character puppets like this one of this handsome devil. Hello, how are you today? Oh, nice to see you. I'm glad you could join in. Yay! All right. So we have a good friendship together. She's created these fantastic puppets for me, and one of them is a bunny rabbit, a pirate or miner kind of character, sort of a rough kind of character, and then we have a monster, a cat or flower, probably one of the most versatile ones of them. Again, they're sort of different templates, and then a fantastic bird puppet. Each one is going to have their own individual video to sort of tutorial, but the first 6 minutes of every video is going to be the same. This introduction, as well as how to sort of glue your puppet together safely, and sort of basic instructions that will apply to all 5 puppets. All right, so this is just the start of them. We've got a few more ideas underway, but we're going to just sort of put out these first 5 and see how they do, and go for there. Thanks very much. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the video. This part of the video is going to show how to glue your pieces together. I'm going to start with the chin. The chin is very similar in the rest of the puppets, and all of the seams are virtually the same. You might notice how I take the 2 pieces and I sort of pull them back and forth together. That sort of cools the glue just a little bit and to make sure that it's spread out evenly. And then I take a hard press, and as I press as much of the surface area as possible to make sure that the glue is really stuck. You can actually feel a bit of heat coming through the foam a bit, and for me, when it starts to cool down, I know that's an indication that I can sort of lift my fingers away. So it takes about 5 seconds for it to sort of cool. If you've put too much glue on, if the bead is too thick, then it might take 2 or 3 times longer. Usually when something doesn't stick, it's because someone didn't wait long enough for it to cool, or they put too much on and still didn't wait long enough for that thickness to cool. So there you go, you can see the chin is pretty well done. Now that's going to be the bottom of the chin, and next you'll see where we attach sort of the mouth piece. So the mouth goes onto the clean side, so you don't see where the seams are at the bottom to make the chin curved. Is near the mouth. We want to keep that sort of to the bottom and people won't see it then. Now here we just put a little bead of glue all along the inside perimeter of what's going to be the chin, and stick and hold it for 5 seconds again. I've sped up the video a little bit. Now we're going to do the inside hinge. We put a bead of glue sort of from end to end, and then we put on the piece, the felt piece. We make sure it's stuck and dry, and then we put the bottom chin on. We line it up first, we put our bead of glue, and then we pull the felt tight. You want to make sure it's tight. If it's loose, then when you go to talk with your puppet, the jaw will drop down and it looks a little silly. So definitely make sure you pull that piece tight. Now we've got the strap for our fingers. So you want to put a bead of glue on either side and leave a loop in the middle to put your thumb or your finger. So just a dab of glue on each side. Now remember, these are hot, so if you're testing it out, try not to put your finger in hot glue. Maybe let it dry before you test it out. And there you go, fits in my hand beautifully. Hi everyone, I've got a great puppet kit for you next. We've got the flower puppet. It could also be the cat puppet. What we're doing right now is sort of gluing the seams together. Everybody starts off with a flat piece of foam, cutting out the corners are sort of cut out of it, and then as we shorten that distance, it becomes more of a round dome kind of shape.
and that is going to give us sort of the top head piece. Now, we want to make sure that these seams are more than likely to the back, so that way when you make it the puppet, you cover over those sort of joints with hair. And same with the chin. When we get to the chin piece, you'll see where the triangles sort of get closed off. It rounds the shape of the foam, and then you want to tuck those pieces sort of under the chin. That way you're not seeing it right at the mouth part. So at the moment we're putting in the hard cardboard, and that's sort of the roof of the mouth. You want to put like a bead of glue inside there and just set it right on the inside edge. So not on the top surface of the thin side of the cardboard, you really want it on the inside edge. Same with the mouthpiece. Once we get that finished, both pieces will sort of join together. Now, we see how to put the hinge and stuff on the first video, so keep that in mind. The first part of the video is where you're going to get the instruction to do that. So we set the pieces on, we make sure they sort of fit, and then glue on our hinge. Great. Talking puppet. Yay! Alright, putting on the finger holds, and we're ready to get into the decoration. Can't wait. Okay, for this one here, it is a good idea to cut out all of your pieces first. Make sure that you have everything sort of planned out, ready to go. And that way you can always hold a piece up if you're not sure if you like it or not, and then say, ooh, I like that, and glue it on. If not, don't glue it on. Fix it, adjust it, cut it. Also, if you're doing pieces that are supposed to be symmetrical, the best way to make them symmetrical is to cut out two pieces at the same time, cut them out so they match, and then glue them on. With our puppets, we can do, especially this one, you can do anything you want as your puppet. Perhaps take a look at all of the pieces that you've got in your accessory bag and go, ooh, I got lots of great fur, or I got some foam or feathers, and then maybe decide what your puppet wants to be from there. We are going to include sort of all of those items in with your kit, so yeah, choosing the right one. Now here it's pipe cleaner wrapped around a pencil. If you have a lot of bits that sort of dangle or jingle or wobble around in front of your viewer, that often keeps their attention longer. There's more to sort of look at. You become more interesting or animated as you're trying to talk with your puppet. So remember that. A lot of dangly hair works really well. Googly eyes, that's why googly eyes are so popular. These little flowers are going to sort of hang out the top, are going to be great. So remember, when you're gluing, you want to glue the item and then stick sort of pieces to it, and that way you don't accidentally glue your finger while doing it. There you go, you can see how it's done correctly here, where little bits are sort of glued on. You can put on any accessories that you want. So think about, maybe your character wants glasses or ears or big lips, noses. You can sort of create your foam bits to go on top of it. Now the eyeballs that we used are actually sort of these interesting fuzzy balls that are all different color, and then just with a sort of a spot of black, then they look really interesting. It's just a little piece of foam on there. Now when you're gluing, remember, if you add lots of glue, you have to hold it for longer. So you can see here in the video, Jessica has to hold the pipe cleaner on for a longer period of time. And you can also bead more glue around it after it's dry and help build up and hold it on better. Or, like we've got the green little leafy bits, you can put that on as an extra support, sort of holding it from the front so they sort of angle forward more when they're finished. Yay, big lips. There we go. That looks good. Until it's painted pink, looks a little bit like a mustache, but don't worry, when they get painted pink, they really look like lips. Okay, so now we're going to start applying some hair. We glue the top of the head first, and then sort of drape or dangle the bits on. Here we've got sort of like a interesting stringy kind of cotton rainbowy type pattern. So we're gluing sort of the lower stuff first on the top of the head, and then we move to the top, and that sort of covers up the starting point and looks more like hair. It's sort of being draped in different directions, and that way we get different flowy bits all over the place. What we have next is a couple of decorations that are going to go on. You have to think about if you want to put on your decorations after you paint or before you paint. If you put your decorations on before you paint, you have to try and paint around them, and that can be a little bit more difficult, or it takes a little more time to be careful. But if you try and put your decorations on after it's painted, you have to make sure the paint is 100% dry. Sometimes the glue sticks or melts into the foam better than it would into the surface of the painted area, so we find that the glue sticks better to an unpainted surface. However, some things are just too hard to try and paint around. So you can see as we're painting around here that we want to try and get into every tiny little space. You really don't want to leave any exposed foam. The foam can fade to like sort of a yellowy kind of color over time, just naturally. There's not much you can do about it, so you really want to try and cover it or protect it with paint. The paint itself is acting like a sealant to protect your foam, so you really want to try and paint everywhere. Avoid leaving anything white. If you want it white, paint it white. So you can see in the brush we're really trying to sort of get around into little areas. You kind of point the brush or angle it into, say, behind the eye a little bit. And that way you're not accidentally painting the eye, and you're still getting the little skin color all the way around it. Instead of paint, you can always use felt and just cover the whole surface of the puppet with felt, and then you wouldn't necessarily need to paint. Whatever way you want to do it, again, it's your puppet. It's your imagination. Go nuts with it. Have fun. This should be, some of the most fun and creative exercises we have at JB Arts, because you can make anything you want. I told you as soon as we started painting the lips, they were going to look fantastic. They add to the real personality of the puppet. And that's what we want to talk about next, the personality of your puppet. To make it yours, make it your own, give it a little personality. Try and talk to yourself a little bit in the mirror. Just sort of operate the puppet. That's how you get good at learning how to use it. All right, thanks for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next one.